Gotham is a scary place. I really don't think there's any dispute in that. Recently, I made the decision that I want to learn more about comics and superheroes, specifically within the DC universe. This led me into sort of getting into comics as a hobby and to this video today. I'm fairly new to comics as a whole, so and there's a lot that I'm missing in terms of characters that I've spoke about as well as characters that I haven't mentioned. But just to know, just based on my own experience from what I've watched and read, I'm sure other people will have different lists and opinions to me. Um, Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the rogues in Batman's gallery that should fit into Gotham Knights and readers alike. If there's any other villains that you think deserve to be in this list over my preferences, let me know in the comments. And at number 5, we have Professor Pig, who was introduced by Grant Morrison in the 2000s. Now, I can't imagine you're having a hard time figuring out why I find him scary. Like, just have a look at this image from the place. It's not exactly the kind of person you want to be sat next on a bus home after work. And if you did find yourself in an unfortunate situation, you'd probably wake up at an operating table as he hums away whilst he does his handiwork. Professor Pig, also known as Laszlo Valentine, was a brilliant scientist who, after suffering a severe mental breakdown, led to the Professor Pig that we see today. What terrifies me about this guy isn't just his appearance, although some said me it's not exactly a look. It's his obsession with perfection. In his mind, human beings are broken, flawed creatures who only he can fix. His solution? Performing brutal, non-consensual surgeries to turn them into mindless doll-like slaves, known as Dollatrons. Poor victims are left unrecognisable, stripped of their identity and free will, all while Pig parades them around like works of art. At number 4, I have Bane. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased because Bane is one of my favourite villains in Batman from all time, but I do truly think that he is one of the scariest and best villains that the DC universe has to offer. Like, this guy's terrifying. For people who are really into Batman media, they can really see just how scary Bane can come across in all of his different iterations. I mean, you have the Christopher Nolan movies with Tom Hardy. You also have the Arkham games and his comic books as well. He's someone who beats the brakes off of Bruce the very first time they meet in the very recent Absolute Batman 3, where he analyses and critiques Bruce's martial arts styles whilst they fight. And let's be real, there's no way people can forget the iconic scene from Nightfall, where Bane quite literally breaks Batman over his knee and destroys his spine. But Bane isn't just a thug with a bit of roid rage. In most iterations, he's shown as not just a huge, looming physical threat, but also a criminal mastermind, someone who's always 3 steps ahead and keeps the world's best detective on his toes. Bane's strength is both physical and intellectual, making him a master strategist who famously broke the Bat by orchestrating a massive breakout at Arkham to wear the Batman down, then confronting him when he was his weakest in the comic Nightfall. Bane represents a unique kind of fear, the idea of an unstoppable force who's just as smart as he is strong. With him, it's never just a brawl, it's a carefully calculated takedown. As a person, there are many things I'm scared of. I mean, for example, I'm terrified of snakes and clowns, and that fear has definitely left me feeling anxious and on edge. I mean, fear isn't exactly something that you can just get rid of. Everybody's scared of something, so fear is something that every person battles with every day. No matter who you are, fear is a tool that can stop you, toughest person in their tracks. You know, that feeling of dread is incomparable and is one of the scariest things for me. And no villain quite captures that feeling more than my number 3 choice. Scary. I don't need to explain why this guy's on the list either, do I? He must be pretty scary, quite literally has Scarecrow in the name. Scary in the name. My main reference to Scarecrow, or my introduction to him as a villain, was from the film Batman Begins, where Cillian Murphy expertly portrays Jonathan Crane in what is, in the humble man's opinion, a very underrated performance by the actor. In the film, Crane is a corrupt psychiatrist working at Arkham Asylum, Gotham's infamous institution for the criminally insane. On the surface, he appears professional, composed, and slightly introverted, but beneath that, cold and manipulative and absolutely unhinged. What makes him truly terrifying is not just his intelligence and how he uses it, but it's his authority over others and the vulnerable patients at Arkham, and the way that he uses that fear as a weapon. Crane develops a fear-inducing hallucinogenic toxin that makes his victims experience their worst nightmares in vivid, horrifying detail. To make it even worse, he wears a burlap sack mask over his head, giving him the eerie and unsettling appearance of a scarecrow. When victims inhale the toxin, they don't just see him as a man, they see him as a grotesque, demonic figure fully embodying their deepest fears. Murphy's performance added another layer of creepiness by the way he plays Crane with such a calm, almost casually cruel personality, almost that he doesn't feel the sort of ramification of his actions, and that makes him feel almost disturbingly real. Rather than being an over the top villain, Murphy's Scarecrow is psychologically chilling, someone who understands the human mind and knows exactly how to break it. While Scarecrow isn't the main villain, his presence leaves a lasting impact in the film, and the film also provides a really interesting comparison to Batman himself and how he utilises the fear of Gotham's criminals in an effort to control them. And I do think it's a really interesting contrast between a villain and a hero, both utilising fear in some kind of way.
Okay. This one at number 2 is a best of mine. We have the Court of Owls. When I first read Court of Owls, to be honest, quite goosebumps. I first discovered them in the New 52 which is the multi-story arc and around the court and its talents. I think it's 1 through 3 in the New 52. It was a really fun read, and as far as I understand, the New 52 quite a lot of slack. A lot of flack in terms of this comic. I think it's like a newer reader to comics, like they're really good entry level stuff to get into. I had a really fun time. You kind of want Bruce struggled. He personally has been searching for such a long time as a younger boy, and basically as he was effectively trying to use them as a clue to solve his parents' murder. And then for him to find out that the League was always there, pulling the strings behind Gotham, kind of left Bruce feeling like he never really knew they protected. Court of Owls is a secret ancient organization that's been operating in Gotham City for centuries. They've 100% hidden inside of Gotham, inside even Batman himself could not prove existed. The court itself is made up of the wealthiest and most important families in Gotham, who manipulate events and shadow state's fate. They also have a very creepy nursery rhyme, which was used as a bit of an old wives' tale that fills in what the heck. And also, the Talons are just purely terrifying in their strange, animalistic behaviour and their freakish strength and regenerative abilities. I think what makes the court so creepy and in our number 2 spot is that, first and foremost, Batman himself has never aware of the court's existence for a really long time. I think he's been Batman for quite a while until discovers the existence of the court. And then how reflective it is today's world. Obviously, you hear a lot of like stories about things like the Illuminati, and I know there's a lot of stuff to dabble with Illuminati and secret things like that. And I know that Marvel kind of has an Illuminati of its own, but the idea that there's always been behind Gotham's oldest buildings, pulling strings from the shadows, without the world's greatest detective ever knowing, but it really plays on that theme of sort of paranoia of both like the readers and Batman, and the fear that sort of sets it. Common tales and like wife tales as well, like rumors, and sort of the power of rumor almost. Sometimes it's easy to neglect it. Sometimes these rumors are basically true. It's of surprise to anybody. We have the Joker. I mean, we need to explain this one. Should I just end the video here? Yeah. The Joker is by far one of the most well-known and iconic villains in history, not just for comic book fans. Pretty much everybody interested in fiction or superheroes, even people that aren't your grandma definitely know about the Joker in some kind of way. He's one of the most popular fictional characters in the world, which means there's a huge amount of Whereas Heath Ledger's chilling portrayal in The Dark Knight, absolutely legendary. On Mark Hamill's unbelievable work of like Batman in the animated series and the Arkham games, or whether you go back to classic comics like Killing Joke and Death of the Family. There were just so many creepy and easily odd versions of the Joker. And I think what makes him really interesting is that in some stories he's called like disturbingly methodical, or in others he's wildly eccentric, chaotic, and irrational. But no matter how he's portrayed, what really underpins why the Joker is so scary is the sheer glee he takes in committing absolute atrocities. Everything he does is designed to push Batman closer and closer to breaking his one rule, to finally force him to end the Joker's life. And, they admit it. It's something that's continuously admitted throughout the series, through the comics, through animated, through films, that, it's going to end with one of them dying. None of them know who, but that's exactly how it will end. One moment that always sticks with me is, again, with New 52, it was their family. Um, the Joker literally stitches on his own face, but the previously happened cut off by Hugo Strange, and then tries to convince the Batman that he skins the faces of the entire Batman. I mean, it's a psychological horror that many villains can actually pull off in a way that isn't corny and doesn't come across as like cheesy. The Joker can do that and be so theatrical and still make it terrifying. You know, um, the Joker doesn't really pose a physical threat. I mean, it's been noted that he's quite fast, but other than that, he has no physical threat. It's more probably the the wildness, ability of it that makes him so dangerous. He's a constant psychological presence, though. Batman constantly wondering, feeling uneasy whether the Joker is behind something or whether he's involved somehow. That's always sort of Batman's initial intuition. And of course, we have the Killing Joke, one of the biggest Batman stories of all time. Um, Given us one of the most intimate and disturbing look at the character. I mean, for once we actually get a glimpse of a possible origin story for the Joker. Struggling stand-up comedian who's desperate for money to support his pregnant wife, a wife who seemingly seems quite cold and distant. And it's a story that shows just how far he'll go through a twisted point. All it takes is one bad day to find someone insane just like him. And that is a big running point for the Killing Joke. And honestly, if you haven't read it or you haven't seen the animated film, I seriously think you pick it up. I won't spoil any more of it here, but trust me, it's one of those stories that will stay with you long. Well, there you go. That's me. That's my list of Batman villains who absolutely freak me out. I really hope you enjoyed my first video. I'm really optimistic in seeing where this channel goes. I'm also really happy to get recommendations of hopefully the people that are watching and things that they might want me to see do next, or maybe things that you should read. I'm very new to the topic, and I want to be able to pour as much time into it as I can, because I really love it. So, if you have anything that you think you'd like me to read, even if you know, please let me know. Either it's film, animated stuff, anything like that. This channel won't just be restricted to Batman. I don't think I do want to branch out into other elements of DC comics at some point too, but I'm going to kind of see where it goes on my niche. If you want to see some more content for this, I'd be really grateful if you subscribe. Um, Thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.